joy versus perfection. Because let's be real, usually you're not going to have joy and perfection at the same time. It's going to be whether it's joy or perfection. Welcome to Journey to Joy Live, a podcast to promote wellness, resilience, and inspire joy. Be empowered to balance your mental, physical, financial, aspirational, and social health while providing mental health awareness and breaking down the stigma of mental illness in the Black community. I'm your host, Dr. It's Joy, and I'm here to help you transform life's challenges into opportunities for joy. Let's begin the journey together. Hey, y'all, in episode 114, Joy versus Perfection. Why you can't have both. Now, think about it. Can you really have joy and perfection at the same time? Well, honestly, I think the only time you can have both is when you go on a marital self-care trip with your husband to a cruise. That felt like both perfection and joy. In fact, we went to visit the Bahamas and we went to the perfect day at Coco Cay. So, I mean, the perfect day and joy at the same time. But outside of that, and I'm just still living off of that high, like, wife, mom, bosses, you gotta get away. You gotta get away. It's okay. Leave the kids at home. It's great to have a wonderful village, that's for sure. But you just come back strong and ready to conquer all of your roles. So plan something with your spouse, with your husband often. Doesn't have to be a cruise because who can go on a cruise every week? But you can go on a date every week and you can have your own self care every day and marital care. You can have that every day too. So anyway, back to joy versus perfection. Because let's be real, usually you're not going to have joy and perfection at the same time. It's going to be whether it's joy or perfection. A lot of times we feel like we have to chase being perfect and doing everything right, and then I'll be happy. But really, it's that chasing of perfection that leads and actually steals your happiness, steals or robs your joy. Because actually, I have an example. As I feel like back in undergrad, that was probably when I was trying to do everything perfect and do everything right. And I needed to get to medical school. I needed honors. I needed all A's. And as you know, my story, undergrad kind of broke me anyway. It was like, oh, I'm not getting all A's anymore. I'm not going straight to med school. I'm not doing the traditional route. So that kind of broke me anyway. But just trying to aim for like all A's and honors, I wasn't happy. I was depressed. I was very stressed out. I was burnt out. And I was just like, okay, this isn't working out. So it came a point where I'm just like, okay, everything doesn't happen to have to be perfect in order for me to get to med school and do the things that I want to do. But it's okay for me to still strive for progress, right? To get there. But not everything has to go so perfect, exactly how you lined it up, because life is going to come at you. And when you want it to be perfect, and it doesn't happen that way, and most of the time it's not gonna happen the way you want it to happen, that's what messes you up and steals your joy. I mean, what is being perfect, right? It's just being in control, right? You being in control. And a lot of folks with anxiety, that's what causes them anxiety is being without control, having that uncertainty and just being able to plan everything right and be certain. That's what helps their anxiety. But that's also you trying to be perfect, or people with OCD, right? Trying to have everything be perfect. And your anxiety is still there, whether you strive for perfection or not, or striving for external validation, or just everything just being flawless, like just flawless results. That's perfection, right? Can we really, truly be flawless? And do we really need perfect external validation? I mean, ask yourself if you really do need external validation, why is that? Ask yourself, do you look for those things? Are you looking for perfection, and are you also happy at the same time? Probably not. On the flip side, joy is being rooted in the present, the now. When you're trying to look for perfection, you're trying to think about what can I be? What was I? What am I not? What am I going to be in the future? And you're not even taking time to just stop and look at where you are right now and enjoying life where it is, being present, being authentic. You can't be authentic while striving for perfection because there's a certain point where you are faking it and trying to show you're perfect. And that is definitely the opposite of authenticity. Trying to be accepted. So joy is not trying to be accepted, but accepting yourself, that full, true self acceptance. Do you accept yourself for who you are? Because if you accept yourself for who you are, that's the most authentic place that you can be in. And you're not looking for validation or looking for somebody else to say, "Oh, yeah, you're amazing. You're perfect. Oh, you got it going on." But you're able to be true to yourself, and you're the happiest when you are true to yourself. Perfection's a moving target. You're not gonna always get that thing or get that place where you need to, but joy is present, available in the present moment. It's here and it's now because despite what circumstances going on, you can experience joy. I've mentioned multiple times about the book, The How of Happiness. What does she say? She says that life circumstances only make up 10% of your happiness. And if you are aiming for perfection, that's basically looking at your life circumstances. When am I going to get that job? When am I going to make this amount of money? When am I going to get married? When am I going to get the divorce? Whatever that life circumstance is that you are looking to change for your joy, that's only 10% of your happiness. But everything else, that other 90%, that's true, authentic joy. Being in the present, accepting yourself, realizing that I can be happy even when things aren't perfect. And that's truly letting go of what you cannot control. Hey, I mean, if there's some things you can control, cool. Do it, control it. But for all those things that you can't control, nope. I tell people I have two lists. I have my stress list, the things I'm going to decide, okay, I'll let that stress me out. And then the list of things that oh, well, I can't be bothered by that thing, and some people be like, "Well, why aren't you bothered by that thing?" Well, I'm not gonna let it stress me out. There's some true things that you probably should stress out about, like where you're gonna live or getting a car or how you're gonna pay your bills and things like that. Yeah, put that on the stress list. We probably should worry about those things, but some things, it's just like, just letting it go because you really just don't have the time and energy, and stressing about perfection, there's a cost to it. It's a cost to our health, our mental health, our physical health, our social health, aspirational health. Where's my Enjoino? I have it here. I always have my Enjoino next to me. It's been over a year since the Enjoino was published, and it is a therapeutic and wellness journal using the Inspire Joy method. Inspire stands for integrity, nurture, stability, purpose, and intimacy, resilience, and empowerment. Yes. So that includes our 5 crucial health areas as well as the 2 core foundations of resilience and empowerment. So with that said, yes, the cost of perfection impacts those 5 crucial health areas. If you are trying to be something that you're not and aiming for something that you actually just it's just not possible, stress, anxiety, self-criticism, negative thoughts. I'm not worth it. I'm awful. I'm not doing enough. At what cost are you adopting those negative thoughts? Physical costs, right? You become exhausted trying to do things that are not obtainable, burnt out, not resting because you up all night just trying to figure out how can I be perfect? How can I find that perfect body if you up all night exercise? I mean, there's some things that are attainable. It's good to exercise, it's good to eat healthy. But if you're trying to get that six pack that you had 20 years ago, I mean, it's okay. It may not happen. It may happen. But to what extent? Are you experiencing joy at the same time? Your relationships, your social health are also impacted and affected because if you are striving for something you can't actually obtain, like perfection, you become disconnected. You are irritable. You just have these unrealistic expectations of other people because you're feeling like you doing everything perfect. Why aren't they doing anything perfect? And so then that affects relationships. And of course, the purpose part of Inspire, it affects your aspirations. I mean, if you are stalling your dreams to aim for something that is not obtainable, it affects that creativeness that you have. You know, the fear of failing keeps you stuck, right? You don't feel like you can keep going or that you don't have a glass ceiling to break through because you feel like, oh, I'm not going to be able to get it anyway. So let me just stay where I'm at. It's a difference between aiming for something that's not obtainable and striving for reaching your dreams because you can get whatever you set out to obtain, right? That's not perfection, just wanting to have aspirations and a purpose and feeling fulfilled and living your life authentically. That's just living your life, learning your purpose, going after it, and obtaining that. That's not perfection. Perfection is just trying to do everything right, not trying to fail, feeling like everything needs to be a success. You are the most resilient when you fail. How can you be resilient if you don't fail? So, accepting life when it comes at you, accepting the challenges, the failures. And of course, when trauma goes in there, that already beats you down and you feel a lack of self worth and a lack of self respect in general. So, trying to strive for something that's just impossible, nobody perfect, that just steals your joy. So, instead of choosing perfection, choose joy. Joy is not about ignoring excellence, but it's about releasing the impossible standard. So, not trying to strive for something that's impossible. It's being rooted in that authenticity, being your true, real self instead of just trying to be perfect. People pleasing also gets in the way of that too, because if you're looking for external validation, you're always constantly people pleasing and trying to be something for someone else and not actually being your true self. If you are one of those people pleasers, why? Why do you feel like you have to please others in order to be accepted or in order to be validated? It's definitely important to realize, am I doing this for me or am I doing this for other people? It's okay to choose you, prioritize you. That's always what I talk about. Self-care is what helps you take care of others. So using the Inspired Joy method and the Enjoyno that you can find on my website, as well as Amazon, it is helpful to be able to go through every aspect of your health area. What can I do here and now to strive for progress as opposed to striving for perfection? So reframing it as done, just being done and having that task complete is better than perfect. Being present is better than being polished. Being real is better than being flawless. It's flawless, polished, perfection. That's just out there just to make other people what? Believe what? Believe something is not even true? But people really strive for authenticity. The most simplest example, when you look at TikTok, right? Well, actually, if you look at my TikTok, when I'm running with no makeup on, I'm looking crazy and I'm just talking, people like those better than me, like, being all polished, right? So, like, if you apply that to your life, just showing up who you are, that's what brings joy, and that's what affects others and inspires others. So think about that. And when it comes to doing a task, a lot of people get stuck with, "Oh, I can't finish it until it's perfect. I'm writing on this book. I'm writing a book that I want to publish, but I'm not ready to publish because it's not perfect." That's the hardest thing for the authors out there. Just put the book out there. Stop waiting. It's never going to be perfect. Put it out there. So ask yourself, why are you waiting? What are you waiting for? So, some tips for striving for joy and not for perfection. Just set a good enough standard. I did good enough. I'm going against all of David Goggins because my husband, he listens to David Goggins when he runs at 4 a.m. in the morning. And yes, it's okay to listen to those motivationals and get excited about getting up at 4 in the morning and running. I'm not knocking that. Obviously, that is amazing. But when the perfection is stealing your joy and stealing your happiness, maybe you need to set a good enough standard that I did good enough, not necessarily perfect, as opposed to I did 100%. I did every single thing. I did 1,000%. Would 80% still get the job done without draining your joy? We're not talking about school, right? Maybe you want to aim for, but even still, 80% is cool. I even tell my son that. I'm like, look, just get 80 or higher. So I think that's okay. You don't have to always strive for A. So I feel like, pass or fail. Did you pass? Yay, you got it. So you can think about that. Why are you aiming for perfection or 100%? Would 80% still get the job done? Think about that. Did you do good enough? Because the opposite of good enough is I'm not enough. I didn't do enough. And for wife, mom, bosses, for anybody juggling roles, that is definitely the stiller of your joy, feeling like you didn't do enough and feeling like you just have to keep going and pulling. And then you're drained and you turn into burnt out, and burnt out can turn into depression and clinical anxiety. And now what's happening? You're not sleeping, you're not eating, your thoughts are going down a spiral and getting much worse. So let's stop and think about it. How important is it for you to have perfection versus joy? And schedule joy before tasks. I have a lot going on in my life, and I have to schedule joy before I do things. I run in the morning half the week, and the other half the week I run at night. If I don't get the run in, there's still stuff I'm doing, whether it's going for a walk, listening to some good music. I'm always laughing. I don't take life too seriously. You take life too seriously, it's like, what? Laughter is health, it's medicine, it's everything. So I'm always laughing, looking at something funny, and therefore, I feel like the stress, it doesn't get on me most of the time. I can get stressed. I can. It can happen. But because I prioritize my joy before the things that I have to do, it's very helpful because I can just let it go and feel relaxed and be more present and clear minded and be successful at those tasks. So, setting the good enough standards, scheduling joy before tasks, and then practicing the 3 A's. What are the 3 A's? Awareness. Just be aware of your perfectionist thoughts. I can't launch until it's flawless. I can't publish my book until it's perfect. I can't finish this project until it's absolutely amazing. Just be aware of those kinds of thoughts. Do you have those perfectionistic thoughts? What is stopping you from letting the project be done? Awareness, acceptance, just naming something like it is without judgment. Why you gotta say, "Oh, it's not perfect. Oh, I did terrible. Oh, I'm a failure. Oh, I'm not successful. Oh, I won't be able to do it in life." Accept where you are, work on how you can get better, but not aim for perfection because remember, that is not obtainable. Nobody's perfect. Awareness, acceptance, action. That's the 3rd A. So taking just small, imperfect steps at a time, one step at a time. I always use running because I'm a runner. You can't get done with a 10-miler unless you do one foot in front of the other. So if a task looks daunting and you feel like you have to be so perfect, slow down, break it up into little tasks, just one imperfect step at a time, and celebrate your progress. Forget about the perfection. It's not going to happen. Celebrate when you make progress. As long as you're moving forward At the end of the day, write down one thing you did well instead of everything else that you didn't finish. Because we have so much that we're doing that at the end of the day, we're just like, okay, what didn't I do? Okay, oh gosh, I got to do this. Ugh. And then that's going to stress you out. So instead of thinking about that, what did you do? What did I accomplish today? It's good to have that list of things that you have to accomplish tomorrow. But the first thing you should do is what did you complete today? What was your progress for today? Then now you're feeling better in planning the next day and what you got to get into. And just having what I would call joy anchors, something that reminds you of joy. Because when you get stressed out, it's really difficult to remember those things that remind you of joy. So if you need some type of a visual aid or some type of verbal reminder, whether it's a quote, a photo, affirmations, I'm always talking about affirmations that bring you back to joy when perfection tries to take over. Because it tries to take over, especially for those who are people pleasers and are always aiming for perfection. It definitely will try to take over, just like negative thoughts try to take over. Because if you are so used to thinking negatively and it's just all comes automatic, you got to start to be aware. There's that A again. Be aware of those thoughts getting in the way. But having a joy anchor, creating those joy anchors is very useful for helping you continue to have joy. Like I said, music, going outside, taking deep breaths. I really love the grounding that involves my 5 senses. I recommend that a lot of times with patients, and there was a time where I didn't do it myself, and then I was like, "Let me try this." I'm always recommending, like, engaging my 5 senses to feel grounded and to feel joy. Let me do it. So the next time I was stressed out, I did it. There's a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method where you what are 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste? And it doesn't have to be in that order, but you really feel grounded and out of your head because your head is filled with negativity. I need to be perfect, all kinds of things. So when you can ground yourself and get out of your head, then it just feels so good. Usually the beach is my happy place where I try to think of my 5 senses. Since I just got off a cruise, I guess I could think of that. What did I see on the cruise? I saw water, people having fun. What did I hear? Great music, the waves. What did I smell? What did I smell on a cruise? There's probably different kinds of smell that probably don't bring me joy. But this is good food. The food smells good. I tasted great food. And touch, lots of patterns and things, touching the water, the sand, and the things like that. Doesn't that feel good? Just now you don't forget about whatever was stressing you out. So remembering those techniques to use to ground yourself and get yourself out of that anxious head, that negative head is very helpful. So continue to ask yourself, what am I doing that makes me feel like I'm chasing perfection? Am I chasing perfection? Chasing for perfection kills joy. You cannot have both. Embracing authenticity creates freedom. Just free to be you and say things based on your values. That's where you want to get to. Not saying things just because it makes you look perfect or just to please others. So this week, trade one perfect standard for a joyful choice. I mean, especially if you have a bunch of perfect standards, at least trade one of them at a time, because I want you to get to the point where you're not continually thinking about, "Oh, I gotta be perfect, I gotta be perfect." So what's one perfect standard that you have for yourself? Think about that right now and decide what you are going to do to replace it with one joyful choice. Oh, look at this. I got all these comments. Yes. People gravitate to authenticity, relatable people. Then yes, yes. Thank you, Melanie. I just got into running because running is amazing and it feels good. Well, that first mile doesn't feel doesn't always feel that good, but I feel like once I get to mile 2, I feel so much better. So keep going, girl. That running is amazing. It really, truly is my medication. In fact, I was talking to someone today because I have a lot on my plate. You may not even notice, but I do. And someone was like, "Oh man, you must be stressed out." And I was like, Actually, I'm not because I've been running. They're like, "Oh, I gotta take a page out of your book." Yeah, you have to have something that helps you not, just gets buried in that need for perfection or in the stress that happens. Mind over matter. Yes, it's your thoughts. Everything goes back to your thoughts. Thank you for all the comments. And you did your first 5K 2 weeks ago. That's amazing. Congratulations. Yeah, 5K. I remember my first 5K, and that was like, it just felt so long, long. I don't know how long it took, maybe an hour, but it just felt like the longest thing ever, so good, I'm glad to see people here. So, think about what perfect standard you are gonna replace and what joy you are going to put in that space that's being taken up by a perfection standard. And tell me on Instagram, wherever you're watching, tell me what you are going to do to replace that perfect standard, because this is how you increase your joy, is being intentional about noticing the things that you might be doing that's a joy stiller or that's getting in the way. All right, so that's your homework for this week. Thank you so much for watching. This has been an Enjoy Life production. If you're in a crisis, don't hesitate. Call, text, or chat 988 for immediate support. Please note, this podcast is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional treatment. If you're looking for therapy or medication management through Enjoy Life, visit www.drenjoylife.com to request a consultation. I'm licensed in 12 states. I accept Aetna in Georgia, Florida, and Virginia. Be sure to grab your copy of the Enjoy Note to help you on your wellness journey. Also, check out Inspired Joy for the wife, mom, boss to help you balance it all without losing yourself. Better yet, get the full Joy bundle for just $45. Remember, Journey to Joy Live is every Thursday at 7 p.m. Thank you for joining me, and until next time, may you continue to transform stress into joy.